This is a fairly simplified head, which I bashed together in ZBrush, inside of a cube, which is an approach that I got from looking at Bridgman books a long time ago. George Bridgman, Art Students League, back in the day. Anyway, the reason this is really useful is that when you're trying to draw something like a complicated shape like a head from your imagination, keeping track of building up the structure equally on either side from tilted angles is really difficult unless you have a concept of side to side, front to back, top to bottom, which is what the edges of the cube here give you. So if you get used to looking at the head like this, and maybe when you're drawing a head from a tilted position, just draw that cube alongside of it, just so that you can keep track of when you're plotting points from one side of the face to the other, that you're keeping them on track. This is starting out with a sphere, kind of a bit of an Andrew Loomis approach there, where you start with a sphere and cut the sides off, and then there's the line going across and the line going up and down, just to keep you somewhat grounded in terms of your orientation when you're building up the face. And it's really good because you can see how much of the face sticks out of a sphere. I mean, I quite often start just by drawing a sphere and just pull the chin and the bottom of the face kind of out, and you can see it looks like a sort of space age helmet by the way the face kind of protrudes from the sort of cheekbone area out to the chin. So that's the second approach. First being the cube, second being that, the third being dividing the face into thirds. So you've got the hairline, which is the top boundary of the facial area. Then you've got the line for the brow and the line for the bottom of the nose, and then there would be a line where the chin ends. So three pretty much equal chunks there, and it's just useful to see all this stuff going around from all kinds of angles, pretty much every conceivable angle, when you're trying to learn how to do it. Hit the pause button, draw it when you're not looking at it, see how well you did by looking at it. So method number 4, broad planes. I've thickened up the lines so that you can see the sort of bigger areas, and I've also just put lines in for the mouth and the eyes, so that when you get to these extreme angles, you can see when the mouth lines up with the eyes and when the nose breaks the line of the forehead and that kind of thing, and how the face is pretty elongated when it's facing down and pretty compressed when it's facing up. And those big shapes on the side that encompass the side of the face and the side of the head, and bear in mind there's a lot of head. People often overemphasize, over-exaggerate how much space the face takes, and when you start to notice that it's actually disappearing pretty quickly, and you're just left with lots of side of the head, back of the head, that kind of thing. So it's the same sequence each time for all these different methods, and then this 5th method is kind of rhythmical lines, like the Riley School, another Art Students League from back in the day. Apparently he didn't write anything down, all his students basically carried the torch, so whatever we know about the Riley method is based on that. And as far as this is concerned, it's not exactly the Riley lines, but the point being that you create these kind of rhythm lines, which are the sort of curlier ones, that are boundaries of shapes that mean something to you, or just help you knit the whole face together, so that when you're sketching it out, you know there's this big long line that goes down through the eye and round the side of the barrel of the mouth and down to the chin, or whatever it is that works for you. They're the ones that would be good to memorize. I've got a couple of different
iterations here with lines going in different directions, and these are all things that I find useful, and hopefully you'll find them useful too. And as I said, had this been available to me when I was a lot younger, 20 years ago, I would have been all over it. So hopefully you'll find it helpful. And the most useful thing I've found with all this head drawing is, like I mentioned, I think drawing storyboards for TV commercials, TV shows, and movies. You sit down with the director, you ask him if he knows how he wants to shoot his shot, how he'd like it, and you just scribble it down on a thumbnail in front of him until he's okay with what you're both looking at. But yeah, in order to do that, you have to be able to just draw, especially people, and especially people's heads, from rear 3/4, top 3/4 looking down, underneath 3/4 looking up, from sides, profiles, tilted, all that good stuff. So that's pretty much it. I did a few different versions of the Riley school approach with the rhythm lines. So hopefully you'll find it useful. I'm Steve Worthington, been drawing storyboards for 20 odd years, and thanks for checking it out, and yeah, hopefully it'll help you out. Cheers.